There are so many lies that come out of the Trump administration, but to me, one of the worst is this narrative that Carolyn Levitt tries to push about Donald Trump having the most transparent administration in history. And she says that because they do answer a lot of questions, but they answer questions with lies. So it's not transparency, it's just BS. And one of the worst examples of that BS, one of the worst examples of those lies came today. And Donald Trump's health report, which was just released and is backfiring on him because of one piece of it that is clearly a lie and one shocking detail that everyone cannot believe is on his health report, and it is completely humiliating. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you, leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, this isn't the first time that there has been a controversy around Donald Trump's health report. We last saw a little bit of queasiness out of MAGA over Donald Trump's health when we were asking about his cognitive ability a couple of months ago, and I think that's important context. So let's take a look.
Speaker,
That's what people are going to vote on.
Just to be very clear, he hasn't released all of his medical records. He released 2 letters. Should he release the results of the cognitive test?
It's unnecessary. He's on display every minute.
So it's unnecessary. You concede that he didn't release his medical records. You don't want to know things like his cholesterol level, whether he's dealing with any issue that we may not know about, if he's going to be commander-in-chief. And he also said he would release cognitive tests.
Listen to your question.
Should he release that?
The American people... Kristen, the American people don't care about the cholesterol level of Donald Trump. They care about the cost of living and the fact they cannot pay for groceries because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's policies have put them in that situation. The medical records are irrelevant. Let's talk about things that the American people...
So Mike Johnson, the guy who was constantly calling for Joe Biden to have a cognitive test while Joe Biden wasn't crashing the global economy with ridiculous tariffs, he didn't want to see a cognitive test from Trump just recently. I wonder what that's about. He said, well, he's doing it every day. We can see every day that he's fine, while he was most of the times unable to speak on the campaign trail, suggesting crazy ideas that have only been made crazier now that he is carrying them out in his administration. And Mike Johnson doesn't think that that guy needs a cognitive test. You could just look at Donald Trump, like Mike Johnson told us to, and know he needs a cognitive test. Even him talking about his cognitive test made me think he needed another one, and we can see that right here.
Everybody, Mr. President, just got back from Walter Reed. How'd it go? Land with you. What I think well. Every test you can imagine. I was there for a long time. The yearly physical. I think I did well. I think they're releasing the report on Sunday. Doctors, highly respected doctors, great guys, great, amazing place actually.
Did they give you any suggestions or advice on anything you need to change up?
A little bit, but overall I think I felt I was in very good shape. Good heart, a good soul, very good soul. And I wanted to be a little different than Biden. I took a cognitive test, and I don't know what to tell you other than I got every answer right. I took just a lot of different tests having to do with the heart, having to do with other things, and I think you'll find that they're going to release the report on Sunday. I think you'll find it very good.
So Trump's own reporting about his physical was that the doctor said he had a good heart and a good soul. Yeah, that's not the information that I really wanted a takeaway from. I was more worried about your brain and if that's still working, which I don't think is the case. But the fact that he said he has a good soul, this is just like such an insecure individual. He knows how everyone views him. He knows what he's trying to project out, and it is just not working. And before we get into the full health breakdown, which Donald Trump really didn't give us much of in that clip, I want to hear one of the most nonsensical questions that led into this health reveal from a reporter right here.
Consider releasing the president's fitness plan. He actually looks healthier than ever before, healthier than he did 8 years ago, and I'm sure everybody in this room could agree. Is he working out with Bobby Kennedy, and is he eating less McDonald's?
I can confirm the president is in very good shape, as you see, on a near daily basis.
Are you serious? Is he working out with RFK Jr.? No, he's crushing Big Macs and putting away Diet Coke by the 9 bottles a day. And what's just worse than that question somehow is what Carolyn Levitt shared from this health report, this physical that has the internet in a buzz. Let's take a look. Carolyn Levitt tweeted this morning, as promised on Friday, President Trump's annual physical examination results. There were several notable pieces of information, but one that really caught the attention of a lot of Twitter users was that Donald Trump's weight was listed at 224 pounds. We saw one response say there is no way in hell he is 224 pounds, and an Elon Musk fan of all people saying good, but come on, no way he's 224. But that wasn't the only lie or ridiculous claim to come out of this report, with Twitter user Aaron Rupar pointing out, beyond parody, the White House cites Trump's frequent victories in golf events as evidence of his health. This is straight up North Korea style propaganda. What are you telling me that his fake health report is real because of the fake golf championships that he's won? This is absolute absurdity. Are we serious right now? It's like, yes, dear leader, you've done such a great job handing yourself trophies at your own golf clubs that you're in the best shape we've ever seen anyone. And the 224, get out of here. It's just like, it is embarrassing. If they tried to squeak like 240 or like 230 past us, I'd be like, okay, but clearly not using a round number because they want to be like, well, it was 224 exactly. We're not rounding up or down. That is nonsensical. Stop it. This is absolute ridiculousness. And it's kind of humiliating for Donald Trump that he has to lie about his weight. Like, really? Are you serious? And after all this time saying that Joe Biden was in cognitive decline, you can't release cognitive exam? All you can tell us is that you forgot about your man, your woman, your camera, your TV. Remember when Donald Trump was bragging about the elephant that he identified on his cognitive test, his dementia test, and he was saying that was a big brag? I cannot believe that he is the oldest person ever elected president, and no one in the Republican Party who loves cognitive tests cares to hear about one of them. This is ridiculous. His cognitive state and his willy-nilly tariffs are the reason our economy is collapsing, and he's being taken advantage of for it. And Elizabeth Warren called that out so perfectly right here.
Biden's decision to slap tariffs on Chinese goods because he was, in your words, quote, standing up for American workers, unquote. So specifically on China, can you detail what exactly you would be doing differently than President Trump?
Well, let's keep in mind, tariffs can be an important tool in the toolbox when used in targeted ways. But right now what we've got is chaos and corruption. Donald Trump has imposed a tariff on everyone, everywhere, on all products. That's the 10% tariff. Of course, it was much higher earlier in the week. And now in this trade war with China that basically tries to shut down all trade. And then, right out in plain view, as if the chaos weren't enough, he adds a nice layer of corruption for everyone to see, and that is a special deal for his CEO donor, and that is an exception to the China deal for iPhones. Look, here's the problem. You can't get an economy strong and moving forward when it's loaded with chaos and corruption. Investors will not invest in the United States when Donald Trump is playing red light, green light with tariffs and saying, oh, and for my special donors, you get a special exception. People make investment decisions that are years into the future. If they're going to build a factory or they're going to rehab an old factory or buy a bunch of new tools. And right now with Donald Trump, nobody can figure out what the rules will be 5 days from now, much less 5 years from now. That's a real hit to our economy and to developing more manufacturing here in the United States.
So on Wednesday, the president announced a pause on most of the tariffs, a 90-day pause, except for the ones on China and except for the 10% across the board. You called for the SEC to investigate whether President Trump intentionally manipulated the market or covered for insider trading when he told Americans on Truth Social and in the Oval Office that they should go invest in the stock market before he announced that pause on the tariffs, and the market soared afterwards. Have you seen any actual evidence that insider trading was going on instead of the just general advice he gave for people to invest?
Well, there are people who have looked at what happened to purchases and to calls just before he made that announcement that caused the stock market to skyrocket. But let me be clear with the back and forth here. That's what investigations are for. And it's entirely appropriate to have an investigation to make sure that Donald Trump, Donald Trump's family, Donald Trump's inner circle didn't get advance information and trade on that information. This is just, this is how the stock market works in order to make sure on a consistent basis that nobody's trading on inside information. And by the way, Jake, the same thing should apply to Congress. And that is, we should have a rule that no one in Congress can trade in any individual stocks.
There is clearly insider trading happening because of Donald Trump's tariffs. And everyone who gave him a couple of mil, for his inauguration or donated to his campaign, all the big business CEOs are able to say, hey, Donald, you're doing such a great job. Heard you won that golf tournament. Any way I can get an exemption? And of course he's gonna, because he's stupid. And he's easily flattered. He loves corruption. That is what it is all about. The big guys can benefit, actually, from the tariffs as small businesses in America, which employ most people, are being harmed. Donald Trump doesn't care. This businessman, this party of business, they don't care. It is all hypocrisy. It is all BS from a guy who's in a different type of BS, bad shape. Is what Donald Trump is in. But someone who is in good shape did a great job calling him out. And that's Cory Booker right here.
All should be speaking out against it.
Senator, let's talk about the future of the party. Apparently, Vice President Harris is still weighing a presidential run in 2028. Do you think Vice President Harris should run again?
I know Vice President Harris. I don't think she's concerning herself with 2028. I think she's concerning herself, like most Americans right now, is why do I have a president that's attacking due process?
But do you think she should run again? Do you want to see her run again? Senator, you supported her. Do you want to see her run again?
I am literally getting thousands and thousands of phone calls, people stopping me on the streets in crisis right now. They're losing jobs. They're seeing their costs go up. They're worried about their housing. Honestly, I don't care about 2028. I care about stopping the hurting of American people right now. And if Democrats in general, we should not be concerned about the party's future. We should be concerned about people's present, and that's where I'm focused.
I don't know what all this 2028 talk is about. Sure, sometimes it's fun. I've partaken in it myself. But come on, guys. There are more important things to focus on right now. The economy is quite literally imploding. So if we could take a beat on that, would be fantastic. We're certainly covering it every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.